thank you. Today we are playing Blue-White Control with main deck Shadow of Doubt. This is something we've been talking about a little bit lately, is that the idea that right now there's just more fetch lands in Modern than there's ever been. Obviously it's Modern, there's always been tons and tons of fetch lands, but it just feels like a huge chunk of the format, like 80% plus, or like really in on fetches, and I feel like Shadow of Doubt is a really good way to just get ahead on board really early in Blue-White Control, which is obviously a good way to cascade well into the late game. It also just cycles, which, you know, is obviously not great, but in a Blue-White Control deck, having your answers be able to cycle is really nice. I'm also down on the number of Chalice Avoids from the last time we were playing Blue-White Control. I feel like there's a lot of like mid-range decks at the moment, a lot of creativity, a lot of like 4-color piles. Not that Chalice is dead against those decks, but it's just really not the best way to be fighting them. So I have a couple extra in the sideboard, but I'm down to just one in the main deck. Notably, I'm also still not playing the Narset Days and Doing package. I think that the package is totally fine. I think that it is a reasonable way to build the deck, but I think especially with the Shadow of Doubts, I think I'm just still happier to be in on Teferi and Jace. Also notably, one thing I'm doing really differently, I think, from most of the Blue-White lists is I'm just not playing like 5 utility lands that don't work with Leyline Binding. I'm only playing the Otawara, but I'm also like, the way this mana base is built, I'm playing 11 fetch lands, where most of the Blue-White lists are still just playing 8. And in order to facilitate 11 fetch lands, I think you have to play like the 5 basic islands so that you have, you know, mana to get when you draw all these fetches. So you have a total of 11 fetchable sources, and it's just like, you just really can't play 10, 11 fetches and not play, you know, all these fetchable targets. And so I think that this makes the mana base feel very, very smooth and consistent, and I think I value that consistency, especially for turn 2 Leyline Binding. I value that more than having Celestial Colonnade and Castle Vantress and that kind of stuff. I think that those are the main points to go over. I guess we can just start playing some games, huh? Please note, league matches... Okay, this is the message you get every time you reinstall Magic Online. Okay. Solid ham. I'm also, okay, I know most Blue-White players are not doing this too, but I do really recommend one Pithing Needle in the sideboard. It's mostly for Red and 6 decks. There's so many Red and 6 decks at the moment, and just being able to bring that card in against every deck playing Red and 6, I've found to be, like, really, really nice. Arid Mesa Stomping Ground. Grazer. Gonna be a good Shadow of Doubt matchup. Probably, Scapeshift. Jund Scapeshift looks like. Very obscure deck, but a deck that some people are playing. Yeah, new client day. I'm not a Silent Hill fan. No, I've never really gotten into the franchise. All right, Force Pitch Fable. I've also been really liking the first copy of Force of Negation in Blue-White. Kind of thinking about trying to find room for a second in the 75, but the Force of Negation is a card that, for me at least, is starting to creep back up in my deck list, with creativity being like the deck to beat. I'd say that's the main contributing factor. Here, I think I'm going to play the Strand. If I don't have to Counterspell, we're going to get our Sultai Triome. And if we do have to Counterspell, I'll get the Breeding Pool. And then Leyline Binding will just cost 2 mana if we draw it. But this is also certainly not a matchup where Leyline Binding is a super relevant card to be casting. Mike, 38 months, thank you. And Ordinary Hands with the 8 months as well. Then Marv with the 8. I don't know if I thanked any of you guys, but thank you to all of you. I think I cut the Deluge for second Force. Maybe. I really like 6 card advantage, win condition type cards. You can play 5. You can play 5 instead. Especially with, you know, like, you have 2 Shadow Doubts as like cheap cantrips. Maybe you don't need like the Deluge as much, but and one reason why I'm playing 5 Planeswalkers instead of 4, which is also like a bit more common to play 4 instead of 5, is that because I'm not playing any manlands, I do think you need like 1 extra win condition, but not a huge deal. Okay, I mean, they're obviously not playing transmogrifier creativity in their deck if they're playing Grazer, so just the value Dwarven Mine. Omega Phoenix with 18, Boston with a 24. Is there any pure play in Magic than end of turn Archmage's Charm to draw 2? I do think this is bad only if they Wrenn and 6, but I do think like the dwarf token is going to be like annoying enough to Prismatic Ending. Now that Marvel Snap is out, I'm gonna quit Magic, start playing that. I turned down their sponsorship offers, but everybody's like getting really into it, so maybe I should have hopped on the campaign. But I feel like I've done enough sponsors for, you know, the time being. I might do one more this year, but I played one game with at a friend's house the other day actually, but I don't have like any opinion formed, I guess. Thanks again, Boston, for the 2 years. Happy double anniversary. Is Scion replaceable in 5-color Zoo? I mean, it's a pretty important card. But yeah, you could play Deshoba Brawler, although maybe you're already playing Deshoba Brawler. I don't think I would ever enable TTS. Sounds like hell. I guess I'm using my Counterspell here. I would prefer to hold it and not, you know, get Primeval Titaned, but seems good enough. Quinn, think we switch Prime. We are flooded a bit, huh? Big draw step off the Teferi here. There's a binding, which is not really helpful. Oh yeah, I don't have the chat open. Define flooded? No. Dude, every time a streamer says they're flooded, Twitch chat like disagrees. You call yourself flooded? One time I only drew 2 spells the whole game. There's always a lot of one-upping whenever you claim to be mana flooded to a Twitch chat. You think this is mana flooded? Pathetic. So I should probably hold my Delta for Jace, although, yeah, thinning the library is relevant here. Yep, should have shuffled. I like the new server so far. I mean, this is my first game. I also, you know, I'm one of these, like, you know, very expensive PC to play Magic Online people, so I haven't really felt like the servers have been doing me badly or anything. Okay, it's kind of like they got Shadow doubted because they cracked their fetch and then conceded. I guess I wasn't flooded after all, huh? So my opponent is like Naya or Jund, 4-color, Dawn Blue, Scapeshift. Probably, I'm assuming Scapeshift. Their mana base is all mountains.
It's very full.
Thank you, sweetie. Upstairs on the coffee order. I don't know how to sideboard. So I'm going to assume they're a Wrenn and 6 deck. The Needle is largely for any Wrenn and 6 deck, but obviously you can bring in against Yawgmoth and like a Cup Belcher, Tron, a couple other spots. I think that the Chalice can go. The endings are probably not super relevant except to answer Wrenn and 6, but I also have Leyline Binding to answer Wrenn, so I think I'll go probably to a maximum of 2. Maybe we'll play like 2 copies of Dovin's Veto. I kind of want to get like at least the first dress down in. Maybe we'll go down to 3 Solitude. How many copies until I say I'm flooded? yesterday I got crazy. I had like 4 copies yesterday. I didn't even get anything done. I made 1 YouTube video and like wrote like half an article. It was mostly just a day off. Mostly just a day off. I'm gonna keep this. Say your store is running Brawl for its store championship. What am I running and why is it Soul of Wind Grace? What a modern Brawl. What would that look like? That would be a hero format. Keeping all the verdicts. Oh, sorry. I should have been trimming on the verdicts. Absolutely. Probably down to just 1, maybe up to 3 endings to dress down. There's the Wrenn and 6. Brawl. Pretty boring, probably. Yeah, maybe. I don't know because I don't really know all the rules of Brawl exactly, but I don't know. Maybe there was something there. Okay, they are playing blue. I don't think we saw. Did we see a Stevens game 1? Okay, let's Dovin's Veto this. I'm gonna get a breeding pool because since I do really want to draw a binding here. Isn't Brawl just 60 card 1v1 commander? With like a smaller, format, like, but yeah, I guess. Yeah, they're not creativity. They showed us Grazer and they showed us Fury game 1, so they're definitely not playing creativity. But they are playing Dorver in mine. Why Shadow Doubt is in 4? Shadow Doubt is in the main deck, baby. I just think that it's pretty well positioned in the format at the moment. There's like, a higher density of fetch land decks in Modern right now, I think, than there maybe ever has been. And I think it is a good card to play in the meta game. All right, let's ending this. Is this Scape Shift? Yeah, I think they're playing like 4 or 5 color Scape Shift. It really can't be too much else, but they really didn't show us all that much game 1. Oh, okay, a little late on the needle. Let's just hold up the charms here, I think. Sounds a lot like Bring to Light Shift. Yeah. Likely. Isn't Fiddlebender basically that? Ooh, Fiddlebender would be really good for Modern Brawl. Well, oh no, I took the instep stop off. No, damn it. Why did I do that? Fuck. Yeah, I usually have both instep stops off, but I had to reinstall Magic Online. I just took it off. I don't know why I did. Alright, Dwarf token beat down. Hasn't Modern basically always been fetchland decks in Tron? What other examples of fetchless decks? Monocolor Cavern decks. I feel like saying that Modern's always been fetchland decks in Tron is pretty reductive. Yeah, tribal decks have been incredibly popular. Hammer is like a pretty good recent example. Affinity is an example of decks, a deck that didn't play fetches. Eldrazi decks. I guess Bant Eldrazi would play some fetches, but not only are people playing like more fetchland decks now, like the number of fetchlands they're playing is higher too, most largely because of Wrenn and 6 and Leyline Binding. Are like both those cards make you want to play like 10 plus fetches as opposed to like 8 or something, right? Hammered, yeah. Sir, yeah. That is definitely true. That like one of the main non-fetch land decks. Although Hammer even plays fetch lands now if they're blue-white Hammer. But one of the main non-fetch land decks is Hammer, and like Shadow Doubt has like tons of like relevant targets against them with Saga, Stoneforge Mystic, and the blue-white versions play fetches. Fruit Fly, 28 months. Thank you. Okay. Pretty sure we needle, so we don't have to go to discard. And I'm gonna name Wrenn and 6, I suppose. That's back. Do you think Stifle will be broken in Modern? I don't think it would be broken. I think it would be like pretty unfun. That card is definitely on my list of like it would not be broken, but would like not be a positive addition to the format either, probably. Okay, there's Wrenn and 6. Doesn't really feel like something I need to answer right now. They have plenty of lands. I also have a good number of answers to it in the deck. Been a very weird match to start the day, to say the least. Oh yeah, I haven't seen the new Rim yet. I did see that he posted. We'll have to watch that today. All right, just gonna draw 2. Oh baby. Okay, so I think I'm just gonna Teferi bounce the binding, and then they'll binding the. Oh, they're gonna counter this cycle. So Teferi bounce the binding, then they will binding the binding the needle again, then Teferi, then Ren and 6 ping. So maybe just bouncing the token is best. Then they'll Ren and 6 ping anyways. Basically counter the activation. We do have to go to discard, but I think that's okay. Any merit to playing a black-white X Death Shadow deck with Worship? With Worship. I mean, Worship mostly sucks. I don't know. There's just like so many ways to deal with 4-mana enchantments these days. What's my favorite Magic art? Probably Jade Avenger. I've got a lot of Jade Avengers on the wall behind me. I bought a painting of the, or like, it's not really a painting. It's like a metallic like foil print of Kraken token that's downstairs. I got it at the SCG con. How many leagues would I say run each day? I mean, it varies a lot. So like, it'll probably be like, 2 to 4, sometimes 5 on stream if some of them go fast or go badly. And then off stream on an average day, it's probably like another 2 to 3, although sometimes I get like super lost in the sauce and it's like 6. So like, probably an average of like minimum 5, maximum like 10. And then maybe during the trophy race season, more to say the least. Shadow's really wide and board, so Unlife might be better, yeah. Problem with Unlife is you can't pay life down below 0. I guess that's not that big of a problem, but I don't know. Like, I think people can get a little lost in the sauce with Death Shadow. What's good about Death Shadow is it's just so mana efficient, and it lets you double spell really well. It's not like I just don't think it's a kind of card you're looking to combo with. It's a card that you're looking to be very mana efficient with. I have to let this resolve. I can't counter this and let them escape shift. Obviously, if they just don't have Valakut in their hand either, this is going to be fine. Doesn't seem like they have Valakut in their hand either. I think I'm just going to Shock and Fountain, hold up Deluge plus 2-mana interactive spell, or of course, 3 2-mana interactive spells, which is, a lot less likely, but whatever. I guess I should have tapped the breeding pool instead. I have a hard time thinking of this like as an island, but obviously that is how I should think of it. Don't think I take the verdict. Maybe I should be here. Obviously going to cast a Leyline Binding end of turn, and I think that binding the binding maybe makes the most sense to stop another Ren and 6 in their hand. If they have a binding for my binding, then obviously they'll just be able to deal with this no matter what. Binding, binding, binding. Welcome to Modern. Welcome to Modern. Okay. I'm going to tap a little differently. Maybe I should just get in the habit of like tapping this earlier. So I don't, think of it as a dual land. Spilled coffee all over my freaking shirt. I don't know. I don't feel like I need to counter this. It's maybe okay to counter, but I think it's fine to let go as well. Is binding the new mental misstep? It's probably not, you know, exactly how I describe it, I guess. Okay, so if I bounce my binding here, if I bounce my binding, have I played my land? Yeah, I have played it. If I bounce my binding, then theirs comes down, and theirs gets rid of my Teferi, but my Teferi's gonna die anyways, so I feel like this is just a good way to get a free Leyline Binding. Ooh, and then I drew another Leyline Binding. Okay. Far out. Although now I do have to discard, which I think I'm just going to discard the Veto. Doesn't seem like they're playing a lot of counter magic. Although they did cycle in response. So maybe they are playing counter magic. But am I ever like really losing a counter fight? Maybe I am. Okay, I'll discard a Counterspell. Maybe we could discard Archmage's Charm. Let's discard the Charm. Because we have the Deluge as a card advantage spell. So you loop of white, draw a card. Oh, right. Gross. I have to play the Zagoth Triome before that actually happens, but yeah. Acolyte, 28 months. My opponent in both games has just had millions of mana and just isn't doing anything with them. Although now, I guess, you know, now they can, if I bounce this binding, they can binding this binding, but then I binding their binding. Yeah, so I bounce here, their binding comes down, they can exile my Teferi, or they can exile this binding. If they exile this binding, I just binding their binding. Which doesn't really accomplish anything, I guess. So maybe it's best to bounce this, veto it on the way down. I think I buy that. I think I buy that. I don't think we do anything else too crazy. Feeling in good shape here. You say binding is not like mental misstep. Did I say that? I think maybe I said that. Who knows? there are similarities. There are certainly similarities. I cannot deny. Permission to add Joel. You can add Joel. Is Teferi 5 the only win condition? No, there's Solitude, Kahira, Jace the Mind Sculptor. Plenty of win conditions. I do feel like blue-white players see no copies of Celestial Colonnade in the deck list. And like, there's no win conditions here. No Celestial Colonnades, no win conditions. Ooh, a Leyline Binding. Bad at 31 months. Alright, Joel. Joel is here. Guilty, yeah. Pegged to a T. If a blue-white control list has no Celestial Colonnades, there are no win conditions in the deck. No, yeah, no Secure the Waste. Man, I'm just no Elspeth Sun's champion. How do you win a freaking game, dude? How do you even ever win a game? That's how you win a game, huh? That's the main win condition. Yeah. Just hope Chalice is good. I think this is fine on the play. Is the new server better for players? I mean, less lag, some bugs fixed, something like that. As far as I can tell, I saw that Andrea posted this morning that there was a lot less lag. Like, he was able to get into his account, he said, like, almost immediately, as opposed to, you know, not almost immediately before. Is Shadow just to be anti-fetches? I mean, there's also, you know, Scape Shift, Titan, Stoneforge Mystic, Urza Saga, but yeah, mostly anti-fetches. Okay, another Ren and 6 deck. Another looks like creativity. Maybe another super good matchup for if this is the Titan version of creativity, which I guess is probably not, but you know, Shadow Dog good against creativity. They have a lot of fetch lands. Hold up our binding. Or do we have to? Yeah, you have to uninstall the. You just uninstall Magic Online, reinstall it, and so far the only changes are there's a faster. It seems to be a faster client, less lag, which is really good, and full set redemption costs more, which I don't know how relevant that is to anybody in here. What are my thoughts on Infernal Grasp and a Death Shadow build? I mean, I think if you're Grixis, you probably just want to play Terminate instead, but they're not killing my Chalice. The client is faster because it deleted all the old cache files we installed it. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. You love to hear it. I do feel really nice that their Spell Pierces are currently turned off. I'd love to draw a blue card here and like pretty comfortably jam a Teferi. They also discarded 2 Archons, which is nice. Okay, there's a blue card, so gonna somewhat comfortably jam the Teferi since they can't Spell Pierce. Think about Ulcerate and Death Shadow deck. I would have to read Ulcerate. I don't know. I think for the most part, like people can get like a little lost in the sauce when it comes to Death Shadow enablers. Like, oh, this card says lose life on it. It's good with Death Shadow, but just fetch lands and Thoughtseize are enough enablers for Death Shadow. You don't really need to play suboptimal cards. Oh yeah, Ulcerate is just like also like big Garbo. You just play Dismember instead if you wanted that effect. Okay, so let's just use our mana now to binding their binding. And they'll definitely tap out for creativity if they have it. Oh, fuck. Wait, they don't have enough mana. They only have 7. Yeah, I was like... They can Archon here on turn 5? Any plans to revisit 8 key anytime soon? I'm kind of hoping that there's like a new card for it in Brothers War. It's a really fun deck to play too. It's definitely like, it's maybe like my favorite deck to just like play for fun right now. But I don't currently have any plans because I feel like there's still a lot of work to be done, Why only one Chalice the Void? I'm just like not as into Chalice at the moment. There's it's like creativity is kind of like the deck to beat. The first Chalice is okay against them, but you just don't really want to be that in on it. I feel like also like to some extent, and this concept is maybe like a bit more nuanced, experimental. I don't really know exactly how I want to phrase it, but to some extent, Chalice the Void in this deck is like, it's good in your good matchups. You know what I mean? For blue-white. Like, it's good against Hammer Time, Murktide, Cascade decks, which I think blue-white tends to be good against in decks like Creativity, decks like Omnath decks. While like one copy of Chalice is not dead against them, you really never want to draw 2, and it's like not that effective either. And so that's kind of also like the idea. Still have more on the sideboard, right? Okay, also here I'll say this, and this is just one game, and I'm not like drawing like huge conclusions by this game or whatever. But I will say this. Ooh. Yeah, should be fun to counter this. I will say this though, like all last week, people are like, blue-white has a terrible creativity matchup. Blue-white has a terrible creativity matchup. But I just feel like I just don't lose to it that often. Ooh. Maybe we lose to it right now, Maybe we lose to it right now. I think I have to draw 2 here. So I guess that was a good reason to... charm and not force, huh? Okay, there's a Fable. I feel like I've just been beating it a ton with blue-white, and like my games are often like this, but this is also kind of what I was saying too, where it can be just very easy to run well against a deck that you have a bad matchup in, and be like, what are you talking about? Bad matchup? I always beat creativity. And so I don't know what I'm saying. I don't. We'll just continue to evaluate the matchup, I guess, over the course of the day. Some, but I just feel like I beat it all the time. But maybe I'm just lucky, right? I mean, yeah, I feel like our draw lined up well against theirs. They drew 2 Archons. Like them drawing Archons is so good for blue white, because like if you draw 1 Archon, you have 3 threats in the whole deck, and you just have like so many answers to kill an Archon. Like you can just tank it and like Verdict, and like if you Archon for 2, like sure you get to drain for 6, but you know. I don't think that matters that much. Like, if you Verdict, then all of a sudden there's just, like, no threats in the deck. If they naturally draw the Archons. Shadow Dao is an awesome card back when format was slower. Played it with Jeskai's 2-mana Stone Ring cantrip. Yeah, I will say this. I think people tend to overrate the speed of Modern at the moment. I think Modern is slower and grindier than people give it credit for at the moment. I think drawing 2 is maybe a little questionable there, but it seems also fine. Yeah, I think Modern is slower than people give it credit for. It's like slower and more interactive like than it was pre-MH2, you know. Games go longer, I think, to some extent. I'm talking 2014, 2015 slow. Oh yeah, that's slow. That's slower. Can't argue with that. What's my verdict in Silex and Lilithfield deck? It's okay. I think I probably would be main decking 1 or 0, not 2. Are the Archon or the Titan Creativity decks better? I think the Archon versions are. Definitely with the Yorion ban Archon, actually, because I liked Yorion with Titan. I thought that was the better way to build the Titan version. Kind of feel like I don't really care about this. Sorry, Lucy's barking. I think that's Lucy. Alright, so let's Otawara the token. So we can try to set up for a Teferi ultimate. If Ponder was legal, how much do you think would affect the blue-white control deck? Not sure if a game changer, but would be good. Yeah, I think it would be good. I don't know. I think that's probably about how I would evaluate it. I think that Ponder would be a much bigger deal for decks like Murktide than blue-white control. Combo decks, tempo decks. Okay, opponent's on the run out the clock plan. Little did they know, I'm Aspiring Spike. I never run out of clock. Okay. And they read my username and decided to concede. Okay. We're getting the Vetoes, the Hallowed Moonlight. I think the Needle gives their Ren and 6 deck. They're also rest in peace answering persist / Ren. I think is worth at least the first copy. These are also, we have like 6 answers to Ren, so I think the Needles can come out pretty easily. We go down to 1 or 2 verdicts. I think the first Chalice is good. I think I'm going to keep the first Chalice in the deck. Although maybe there's not room. So I also want to have like one or two dress downs too. Maybe we go down to just one verdict. I think we can get a Teferi too, especially on the draw. How do you win if they don't concede? Ultima Jace the Mind Sculptor, attack them with Solitude, attack them with Kihira. Listen, blue-white players, I know I don't have one copy of Celestial Colonnade in the deck, but there are plenty of ways to win. I know that I don't have one copy of Celestial Colonnade, but there are so many ways in the deck to win. Do you bring out Deluge and bring in Rip? I think one Rip is fine to have one Deluge. If you bring in more, then you can cut it. I think this seems like a fine configuration. You could go maybe down to 3 Solitudes to play. Let's play one Dress Down so we can play 3 Solitudes. I don't know. Maybe Dress Down sucks, actually. Maybe Dress Down sucks. Tech? Yeah, I must have missed it, but I'll take your word for it. Oh, I don't use ad block. So you're playing Gurmag Angler in Shadow. Very interesting. However, I know this is boring, do the stock thing, but I've played a lot of Shadow. I really do recommend playing Force Shredder to Kroxa. Destructotron with the 5-pack. Thank you. Now 5 people can uninstall their ad block. So like one thing too is like I really don't like this. I really don't like Gurmag Angler as a Stubborn Denial enabler in this deck when you have 4 Ragavans and 3 Ledger Shredders that are really bad at turning on Stubborn Denial. So it's like you just don't like even playing 3 Gurmag Anglers, Stubborn Denial is just like not a card that's enabled in your deck, you know. Fetch, end of turn. Fetch, end of turn. Alright, we get to add to the counter. Shadow of Doubt gets your counter 1. Then Mare Winter with the 7 months and gifting a sub to Slayer Fall. Thank you, Destructotron. Always appreciate you. Oh, we did draw our 1 Rest in Peace and our 1 Deluge, huh? Yeah, we'll go down here. Back to the deck tech. So I don't usually like to do this, you know, play the stock list, but I mean, this is also like, I play a lot of Grixis Shadow. I have a list that I really recommend. You can find it in the Stream Decker. So it's gonna be hard for me to not, you know, recommend the list, the Grixis Shadow list that I put together. Another thing is like, I really hate to have to play Consider in Grixis Shadow. I always feel like Shadow is a deck that always needs to be impacting the board, and to cut Consider for Dragon Reach's Channeler because you're playing Stubborn Denial, it doesn't enable it. I just DRC is nuts in the deck. I would just you know, this is just not how I build it. I build it the way it's in the Stream Decker. Another thing too is like Spell Pierce. Spell Pierce is even like, it's about as good as Stubborn Denial is another thing. It's like, you know, it's, you know, you don't always have a ferocious creature in play, and so like Spell Pierce being on early for 2 is super relevant. And okay, so they probably have Veil of Summer here. So I think I'm supposed to go for just Binding. So obviously what's another nice thing about Binding this turn is that this is bounceable for Teferi because I got rid of a token. Okay, so Veil of Summer does beat Dovin's Veto. I think I'm just passing here. If they do have Veil of Summer, I can go Counterspell plus Veto, and then if they have Spell Pierce, jamming the Teferi is pretty bad anyways. Yes, yeah, just DRC over Consider, 4 Shredder, 2 Croxa, Spell Pierce over Stubborn Denial. My sideboard is like mostly the same. Mostly the same. It's in the Stream Decker. Here's the Shadowless. I was going to deck tech for Spike. I missed it. Did you redeem it already, Magical? I'm sure you did. Shane, 33 months. Thank you. Best 33 months of my life. Mine too. What counterspell arts do I play in paper? Trying to remember. I think I just have the non-Japanese Mystical Archive ones right now. Last night, me and Esther were watching like a random buy YouTube video of of a lot of like unlimited cards. It was really fun to watch, and like I almost bought 4 in black border counterspells because I have 4 in black border bolts. I bought a set of 4 in black border bolts for $20 each. It was the first thing I bought when I was getting back into Magic, and then now they've like really gone up in price, and I feel like they would match my. I'm probably just supposed to wait here until I draw 1 more mana. And if I draw 1 more mana, I can also flashback Deluge. The Rest in Peace doesn't feel super necessary to get down. But so I found a set on eBay of 4 in black border counterspells for like $150, which seemed like a really good deal. But then like one of them was Chinese, 3 of them were Japanese, so they didn't match, and so I didn't buy them. But if they had all been Japanese, they would have matched my bolts too. It would have just been really nice. Any new additions to Magda? Okay, so yeah, that's another thing. And another reason why I didn't buy the counterspells is I bought Mountains for Magda. I bought Unstable. I bought Infinity Mountains for Magda. I bought deck sleeves, like red sleeves, and a deck box. And so now I'm actually going to finally have the Magda deck together. Probably by this weekend for the first time ever. It's just been like a lot of loose cards until until this point. So I'm excited to, have a playable EDH deck. I have like a kind of a goofy, kind of meme sea monster one. The one for Destructotron. Okay. If I miss a deck tech, just post link in the chat. I'm sorry. It's always so tough when they stack really hard. Blue-white control, but with win cons. Now, you only need one Celestial Colonnade is the perfect number of win conditions. It's always so funny. You cut the man lands, and blue-white players are like, where are the win conditions? When you have 3 Teferis, 2 Jaces, 4 Solitudes, Kira. You just have like, a lot of win conditions. So waiting for the video with Prof. Yeah, I don't know when it's going to come out. I guess I could ask. Spike getting into EDH. You said you'd get into it with me, Doom. I'm waiting. I really feel like this is how my matchup against creativity plays out all the time. So I just don't know why all the blue-white players are like, the matchup is awful. Like I could definitely see like the idea that I'm getting lucky, I'm running well. Like that's probably true to like an extent, right? But to say that it's just absolutely miserable, I just don't know if I believe it yet. I can probably just flashback Deluge here. Hold up 2 mana counterspell plus Force. The Rinjals are harder to beat. That's true, but it is also true. Like I play. I mean, what's one Pithing Needle, right? But I do feel like the Pithing Needle. Okay, well, I guess we can take the Solitude to clean up the dwarves too. Maybe a Binding is good. No, it's fine. It doesn't really matter that much, I guess. I do think blue-white players, you should play 1 Pithing Needle in your sideboard for every Ren and 6 matchup. I think it just helps so much. And then also, of course, it comes in against like Tron and Yawgmoth too. It's both like a good answer to one of the best cards in the format against you, like one of the best answers, and it also like is a versatile sideboard card. Like in the first Needle, I think is really good in blue-white. I haven't ever lost to blue-white as a creativity player, though I play Grixis not for color. Yeah, I don't know what it is. This is not me saying I'm just so good. I'm just so good. I'm just always gonna beat creativity. But I'm sure to some extent it's me running well, right? It's me running well. But I just feel like I always beat creativity. But it is. I think it is undeniable. At least like this game, this one sample size, like my draw lined up really well against theirs both games. Just as, but this is also something I hear a lot. I hear all the time. I play creativity. I hear that, like, just exactly what you just said. I play creativity. I have never lost to blue white. I hear that point all the time. So I'm just trying to reconcile it. I'm just trying to understand. Good way to turn on the Jace here. My opponents can't seem to answer the mix. Ren, Fable, and the combo. I think that's fair. That's fair. I think play draw really matters a lot. I think that's a really good point. I think that this is definitely a matchup where the die roll I think matters just a ton. I think I'm fine to veto this. Is a one of sideboard card impactful in a deck that can't find it with Saga? Like, yeah, this is a point I've actually been hearing a lot of lately. I'm not really sure why people forgot how like one ofs in the sideboard work. I don't know. Like someone said that a one of is a none of. But yeah, like in this deck, like if you're only bringing in Needle for Ren and 6, and blue white is a deck that cannot afford to have dead draws ever, and you're only bringing a Needle for Ren and 6 in some matchups, like this matchup, it's just for Ren and 6. You don't ever want to draw 2. You don't ever want to draw 2 in this matchup. So the second copy has like really significant diminishing returns to the first copy, but the first copy is really good, and so this is like I do agree that the formula for one ofs can feel weird, but I feel like this is even like the textbook formula for what a one of in the sideboard would look like, if that makes sense. I love a one of Stony Silence. Yeah, I think Stony is a pretty good option too. Reasonable card at the moment. Am I expecting a one of to make that much a difference? You're expecting the match to go pretty long every time. Are you expecting a one of to make that much of a difference? Because I'm expecting the matchup to go one every time. So okay, let me think of how to articulate this point. I think that's a good way to phrase the question, and I have a good response. I think that you guys are probably putting, I think for this one sideboard slot, this one Pithing Needle, you get a lot of weight and equity. So it's like the other sideboard slots are doing other things, you know what I mean? It's not like this one Needle is supposed to pull the weight of multiple sideboard cards, because it is just one sideboard card, if that makes sense. It's just one. And so I think you guys are putting too much weight on it because you're comparing it to multiples in the sideboard, if that makes sense. But because you're just playing one, your sideboard's more open and you have just other cards in those spots. I don't know if I'm articulating that point very well. I feel like maybe if I had time to like sit down with pen and paper, I could articulate it a bit better. Okay, let's keep this with Beacon Island. What's the math of seeing a one of in the first few turns? I mean, that's kind of the thing. I guess this is kind of my thing. It's a one of, and so it's like it doesn't matter that much. Like it just gives you some percentage points. This one card is really good. The second copy of this one card is much worse than the first copy, but this first copy is really good, and so you want it. And then you just have other cards in your deck beyond that one. I don't know if that makes sense, but I feel like it makes sense to me, and I'm having maybe not a great job explaining it. Yeah, maybe we're over talking it, or yeah, just the first Needle's good, great. The second one is it. You only play one. Okay, up against Living In, which is a pretty good matchup. Do you have a Shadow of Doubt Gotcha counter? We have a Shadow of Doubt Getcha counter. Making sense to me. Okay, cool. Yeah, that kind of feedback's always good because, like, you know, I usually have to like answer these questions multiple times, so I always like to get my explanations hammered out. So like a lot of times the first time I explain something, I feel like it's it needs workshopping, you know, but over time, over the course of a stream, it gets better. Did our Shadow of Doubt get countered? No, we get you them. I think this same thing applies to low separate cards. The first copy of Pierce Dispute is by far the best. Ringing one means you can't collect on multiples. Yeah, for sure. I would say, you know, this is a great time to be talking about it too, because I feel like in this deck specifically, this is like one of the best examples of a one of in the sideboard that you don't tutor for. That is, does that make sense? Like, I would say that, like the spell pierce dispute examples are definitely also examples, but this just feels like the most pure example of that concept, that idea, of the one of in the sideboard. You're fine drawing at any point in the game because it will still be relevant. You don't need it early. You'll never draw two. Yeah, this is, I guess, another thing too. A lot of people in chat keep talking about drawing it early, needing to draw it early because it's a sideboard card. And I don't know. Like, I think to some extent, this is like maybe a good way to think about like deck building at like a very like kind of basic level. And obviously, Needle is like a card that's okay to draw late game too, but. For the most part, if it's a card that you draw in the late game, it's just like okay to draw it in the late game. You know what I mean? Or not draw it at all. Needle is like a card that's okay to not draw. Like you have other answers to Ren and 6, you have other cards against Yawgmoth. You're just okay not drawing it. It's good when you draw it. It's okay when you don't. Just gives you more. I don't know. I feel like people were actually curious to topic one of those sideboards instead of actually SME facetious. Yeah, I do too. Yeah, I don't think I wasn't under the impression that people were being facetious or people were trolling or anything. I'm also like this is what I like to do. This is my favorite thing, is just like talking about Magic concepts and trying to impart what little knowledge I have to you guys. This is, my favorite thing to do. I get really excited about it. Sandor, thank you for the 5 months. Appreciate you. This is the blue-white list. They ran Planeswalker only to Teferi, Shark Teferi, win con, so could board it and Flame Blitz. That's probably lost in the sauce. Fun, though. All right, crack your Misty. Crack your Misty. Ooh, another Street Wraith. Gross. I'm going to Shadow of Doubt here. I have 2 Leyline Bindings and a Solitude, so I'll be able to answer 3 of these 4 creatures. But we also get to add to the Shadow of Doubt get you counter. 2 for 2, by the way. And then they just play no land. I mean, obviously, this is kind of like classic blue-white against Living End, and your hand's all removal spells. Gets a lot better up this board. Is that counter not always kind of 1-for-1? If you cast it, you're going to get them. That's true, but I mean, so like a lot of times it'll just be like in your hand sitting, right? Sitting, and like it doesn't do anything. But I think we've only drawn Shadow of Doubt twice, and we've get our opponent twice. Oh no, there's actually one game where we were just super ahead and didn't need to cast it. So they obviously don't have a Cascade spell here. Hard to say 100%, I think. Looks like they have one right now. Ooh. Okay, with no Street Wraith with no Grief in my opponent's yard, why do they have this draw step stop here? I guess maybe they just have it because they have Grief in the deck. I feel like it wasn't there before. I don't know. Maybe it was. Maybe they've been clicking through it quickly. Okay, I'm going to draw 2 end of turn. I know holding up both counters like seems nice, but like they're going to win this like hold up mana game, and I'm drawing towards exactly this: Teferi Time Raveler plus Counterspell. And again, what's really nice about this board here is I'm currently beating this Living End. I'm beating this Living End of a Curator, a Waker, 2 Street Wraiths. So they have to have even if they have Violent Outburst plus Force, I just get to go evoke Solitude, Leyline Binding, get rid of 2 creatures, and then they have just 2 Street Wraiths in play, which I can deal with. Do you think Doomsday Modern would be fine? No, I think that like just it seems to be a bit much with Thassa's Oracle in the format would be my evaluation. Oh yeah, Zagoth. Yeah, Zagoth Triome does. I mean, obviously I'm not on too many blockers, just a Solitude. Resolves. I think I'm gonna draw a card. I have plenty of removal, so I'm not too worried about a creature coming down and threatening the Teferi. If they have like Brazen Borrower, which is uncommon, they usually play Turtle now, which doesn't get Teferi. But I would have rather drawn a card. I'm playing at a store champ that probably won't have Hammer there. Do I recommend a non-white scam sack over the splashy one? Yes, if you are feel very confident that there's no Hammer time, then sack seems like a great choice, and I would not do the white splash. Mongol 5 months, thank you. But what about goblins? Oh yeah, we need to. We only played one goblins league since the new lord. Maybe we should dust it off some. My opponent is casting Brazen Borrower. I played around it, huh? We played around it. Do I binding this? I guess. An 80% win rate with Bombardment with LGS without Hammer. That's awesome. Like I also had like an 80% win rate with the deck for the longest time. Love that deck. What I played, a legacy event does dominate by Dark Depths of their variants and Delver. I don't know. I don't really play enough legacy these days to give you a good answer. I think. Sure, some legacy players can help you out. The chat. All white cards, huh? But how many borrowers for Teferi main deck can they possibly have? Oh, I shouldn't ask that. I remember you saying the one of Brazen Bar Mercantile players have and their help their bad matchups doesn't actually do anything. I mean, when I say doesn't actually do anything, I'm being hyperbolic. It obviously does something. So again, like my reason for not liking Brazen Borrower and Murktide is because the card is really weak. You know what I mean? Brazen Borrower is like a really underpowered card in Modern. It is just not a card that you are very incentivized to be playing at all. I think I'm going to Solitude the Grief in response to the ETB trigger. Get the Solitude in the yard if they do go for if they can get the Living End off somehow. And so this is really in this example specifically, it's really not that complicated. Borrower sucks, and the versatility you get by being able to bounce a random ensnaring bridge, and like specifically a random ensnaring bridge is like really all it does. That versatility that you get is not. I guess I should have probably just hardcast both. Actually, hardcast this one. That versatility does not make up for the diminished card quality for playing Borrower and Murktide. I think that you will lose more games because Borrower sucks than you will win games because you got to bounce an ensnaring bridge. Blue Azel, 4 months, thank you. What changes would make a conference list with Karn if you were to update it? I would play one copy of Cottage. I would also maybe try to lower the curve some and maybe just play one, probably just one Archon, but maybe the Gristlebrand bet is better, but probably just one Archon. And then, maybe not, probably not play the Lilies, maybe just play Invoke Despair or something like that. Okay, one nice thing about this mana base is like ending on 4 is really not that tricky. Okay, hold on. Is it better to go? Yeah, I guess it's a little bit better to. Oh, if I go Kihira, attack, am I like sad if they block? I don't think so. I'm probably overthinking it. Does Defense Grid have a place in any of these Breach combo decks? No, that card's probably not that good. Like Jeskai, you play Teferi, in blue and green red you play Veil of Summer over over Defense Grid. Borrower bouncing Chalice in the worst. Yeah, I mean, so like Borrower and Living In is like a different conversation than Borrower and Murktide, where Borrower, you know, getting around the Cascade deck building restriction is like really impactful, important thing, and bouncing Chalice to Teferi is really relevant. It's a very different conversation to Borrower and Murktide. All right, we have a lot of sideboard cards, so to have one game one feels very good. So I'm going down to like 2 Solitudes, I think. I usually go down to like 2 Verdicts as well. I mean, it's obviously not bad. I think I'm cutting the Shadow of Doubts also. Oh, sorry, the Bindings. Sorry, the Bindings actually. The Bindings come out. We play 2 Verdict, 3 Solitude, and then still 2 Shadow of Doubt. I mean, Shadow of Doubt is kind of hard to get you them if you want to hold up other permission spells. So maybe we actually do something like this. Probably bringing the Shadow of Doubts back in on the play. Could use this instead. What are my thoughts on Scam? Scam's a good deck. Got better with the Yorion ban. Modern Challenge this weekend? Maybe. I'm either gonna do a Modern Challenge or a local RCQ. I was actually thinking that this deck seems like really, really good. And obviously I'm not sure this is the exact 75 I'd play or whatever, but I kind of want to play this deck at my local RCQ, and then Vegas is the next weekend, so I won't be RCQing for like a week or 2 after that, and so I feel like maybe I should just do that. We'll see. We'll see. What a hand. When are you getting more Bancoca runs? I think tomorrow. That was like the tentative plan. Obviously plans are always tentative for the streams because I do so much like brewing and deck building that it's always subject to change. Don't to be able to play for RCQ that make fun of you. I mean, yeah, they'll just go, hey, don't you think it's a big disadvantage? The reference here is this last Saturday, my round 1 opponent goes, hey, don't you think it's a big disadvantage to that everybody know or people know what you're playing at these RCQs? And I go, yep. Jeff, 14 months, thank you. Yeah, round 1, before we even... that was the first thing he said, too. He didn't say hi. Just said, don't you think it's a big disadvantage that people know what you're playing at these tournaments? Yeah. Yeah, I do. He looks smug? No, he was nice. You know, it wasn't like... he wasn't trying to be mean or anything. Yeah, and then just dredged me out of the game. Yeah, that actually happened. That happened with Cheon at the Legacy GP, and just like very funny. I was sitting next to Cheon when that happened. It's like very weird happenstance, I guess. But I was actually sitting next to him when his opponent turn 1 blind named Dark Ritual on the play with Cabal Therapy. Just a weird coincidence, I guess. Alright, we're gonna go Jace bounce here. Maybe they might have force. But then we can go to Teferi with Veto up next turn. Can Living In win through Recipes Chalice? Yeah, Force of Vigor would be the best way. We have a really good Living In matchup overall though. But they can win, of course. Jace pretty good against 4 mana 4/4, no haste. Yeah, the bindings out of the deck, pretty easy to not worry about the domain. So they have Dispute. They have Force of Negation here, which they didn't have last turn, or it didn't seem they had it last turn. Art, 5 months, thank you. Yeah, seems tricky for a tricky board for Living In to fight through. Is White March already power crept out of the modern format with having Leyline Binding now? I don't know if I would use that term exactly, especially because March is like a really good answer for Saga, which is something like Blue-White is kind of missing, although you also have access to Dress Down, I guess. Yeah, I don't think power creep is exactly the word I'd use, but it is a word you could use. Deck tech for Coop. Yeah, if I missed a deck tech, let me know. There was like just a lot all at the same time, and I feel like this happens sometimes. There's a lot all at the same time, and then like one of them slips through the cracks. But as far as I know, that didn't happen. I don't know until you tell me. Blue Moon Control. This is like the third time I've had this deck tech in the last week or something. And okay, there's also, okay, Mind Bend. I'm gonna pause my normal Blue Moon rant, and I'm gonna read Mind Bend. Change to text of target permanent by replacing all instances of one color word with another for one basic land type with another. So you're going to change Blood Moon to what? You're going to Mind Bend Blood Moon for Island? Why? Why would you want to do that? Just to do it, just to feel something. Okay, I'll say, okay, if this combo is somehow like big brain and it is doing something, you shouldn't play 4 Mind Bends. This is way too many copies, especially when you only have 3 Blood Moons, right? You should play like 2 at most, because you never ever want to draw 2. 3060 also. Deck feels so good. Hero deck. Okay, we're playing against a Kihira. In for a control mirror, probably. How's our bird matchup? Okay. Probably a little unfavored. I think you have to keep this on the draw against control. Obviously, you have to draw a land here. What if we drew Shadow of Doubt? I want to feel something with the Mind Bends. I mean, that's like a good enough reason, I guess. or I should say, that's the only reason. Like, I want to feel something with the Mind Bends, but you should not play 4. You should play like 2, and then you can feel something sometimes. You really never want to draw more than 1 copy. Oh yeah, imagine if I got Shadow Doubted. Why do people consider me to be one of the best blue-white players at the moment? I don't know who considers me to be one of the best blue-white players at the moment. They probably shouldn't, because I just don't play as much as Wafo or the C for Harry MTG or you know, anybody who's blue-white control deck is their personality. not that that's there. It's just, you know, that was another group of people. That being said, like, this is something that I think a lot of people, especially people that came in to the stream post MH2, like, probably don't really know, but for the longest time, like, this stream was mostly control decks. I play a ton of control decks on stream, off stream, control variants. It was a really like huge chunk of the channel's history is control variants. Well, they're just hearing here. They have force. Even if they don't have anything, like, I feel like they're just not supposed to Kihira like this. I do think I'm going to Jace instead of Teferi, just more mana efficient. But I mean, obviously I'm tapping out. Maybe I should have got a Fountain. Probably doesn't matter that much. They do have a force. Okay. Uh-oh. Fuck. The Narset version is probably pretty favored in the mirror. Notably, they got another Narset. Looking for a land here. We did not find the land. I just have to hold up the counter magic here. Ending the Narset doesn't do anything. They have another Narset. Teferi is probably not resolving, and I can't draw a card anyways. Waffle is really high anti-fin compared to other control players. I guess I'm pretty low on it. I would say that he's high on it compared to me also. Okay. Okay, there's the land we needed. Is it the land we deserve? Yes, it is. Let's go ahead and play a fun Raveler with Counterspell up. Oh, it just resolves. So if I bounce Kihira, I don't get to draw a card. But then I get to save like Instant Speed Ending or Solitude. That's probably worth it. How's new Moto? It doesn't seem to be significantly different from old Moto. Opponent's hand is Teferi, Kihira, Narset, 5 mystery cards. Can I ever counter this Kihira? Or should I ever counter this Kihira? I think probably never, right? Weird game, though. Okay, perfect. Alright, this is such a weird line. But I'm going to Teferi. I'm going to plus. I know I don't get the card. But then I can Solitude their Kihira. And then next turn I can ending the Narset. And then, you know, Teferi's and play a million counterspells. Why are you running Kihira just cause? How are people still asking why are we playing a companion? It's just like companions are broken. It pitches to Solitude. It's a win condition, and companions are broken. Any companion is better than the 15th sideboard card if all it requires is for you to put it in the sideboard. Have ever spoken to Crokies? I send him like a lot of like, you know, clingy text messages every morning, and he never responds. Why minus 3 on Teferi? I think it's better to have Counterspell up than to minus on the Narset, especially when I have the ending for it next turn. Although I'm going to counter this. Good old 3 mana Leyline Binding. I have spoken to Crokies actually a little bit. He told me that he was interested. This was like maybe even over a year ago now, but he told me he was interested in learning to play Modern, and he's like, you want to, and like we were gonna do like a co-stream, and then he kind of lost interest, which is fine, obviously. Yeah, it would have been really cool. Maybe like will still happen one day, you know. If you Solitude Kihira, why not during your turn to draw a card? If I Solitude Kihira, why not during your turn to draw a card? Kihira is not the card preventing me to drawing a card. It's Narset that's preventing me from drawing a card there. Assuming I'm understanding that question correctly. I did watch the latest episode of House of the Dragon, yeah. Very interesting. Main phase Evoke Solitude. Alright, I think this is worth countering. Could minus my Teferi, but it's just better to counter. Nice. Not the worst either. Oops, I forgot to plus. Okay, up a game with the mirror is really nice because I do think that their version is favored. So my plan this morning when thinking about the sideboard was to bring in the vetoes and cut the chalice and the verdicts. This was like bare minimum sideboard plan. And then I meant to count the number of fetchables I have, but it's like it's not enough for Emrakul. Yeah, it's just not enough for Emrakul. Not that it probably would be worth it anyways. I don't want to bring a Needle in the Mirror, although I could name Narset, but Narset like just being in play is like still annoying. And then I think Ending just being able to deal with their Planeswalkers is fine. I thought the Narset version didn't play Big Tef. Okay, this is a very important thing to internalize. There is no stock blue-white list. Every blue-white player will take... This is every single blue-white player. They take the latest 5-0 list, they add an extra Celestial Colonnade, and then they add like their two pet cards, you know what I mean? And I'm also doing it right here. I'm adding... Shadowed Out, right? Every blue-white player copies the last list of 5-0'd, they add one Celestial Colonnade, and then two pet cards. There's just no such thing as a stock blue-white list. This list is pretty good, but it's a little light on win conditions. I'm going to add another Celestial Colonnade. I'm going to add, it's a little light on win conditions. The amount of people today who have come into chat and asked me, how do I win the game, is unreal. I'll say this too. I've played a lot of blue-white with like 2 man lands. I don't win that many games with the man lands. No, Emrakul. I can't cast Emrakul. I don't have enough. I don't have 15 lands that tap for mana. Yeah, so you can play Hall of the Storm Giants. I like Hall of the Storm Giants. My problem with Hall is there's no way to play Hall untapped and Leyline Binding on turn 2. That is my issue with Hall of the Storm Giants. Okay, I'm not going to Archmage's Triome here because if I do, I have to go to discard if it resolves. Yeah, but my issue with Hall of the Storm Giants is you can't play it untapped and Leyline Binding. And obviously sometimes like you just won't Binding on 2. It's okay to play 1 copy, but I'm just more interested in having more consistent more consistent bindings. Yeah, but this is also true. Like Hall, like any number of Hall is better than any number of Colonnade, or at least in my opinion, it has been for a long time, and people just still always play that. They just always play the 1 Colonnade, 1 Hall. Yeah, Wandering Emperor is also like so overrated. I haven't seen the new Remy. I meant to watch it. Watch it on stream today, actually. I saw Cryptic Command in the thumbnail. Guess you go Ending plus Veto. I mean, we could take 3 for a little bit potentially. We have Solitudes to draw into. Expansion Explosion, the gifted sub. There's a Solitude. I'm just on main phase of Folk Solitude. No, I'm not. Do you actually think Ending is a bit better here? They counter this, that's fine. Okay, get deck tech for expansion. Oh, they counter, that's awesome. I'm not gonna counter back. Veto's obviously so nice because it just like ends the counter fight, wins and ends. And I think there's a good chance I Solitude the Subtlety. I'm thinking about it if I should do it now. I think I can wait. I think there's like a chance my opponent goes like Narset plus Teferi this turn, or 2 Teferis, and I'll want to have the Ending to exile that. Them doing nothing is interesting. Maybe I'm on Hardcast Solitude. No, I think I'm just too likely to die if I Hardcast Solitude plus Dovin's Veto. So let's go Hardcast Teferi. I think. No, maybe I should Ending again. No, let's Hardcast Teferi. I'll evoke Solitude on their turn. I think. Yeah, no, I think. I just can't die. I just can't go to like 3 or whatever. Mono black 8 rack. In Pioneer, okay. I only see 4 racks here, I think. Or is Davriel? Okay, I shouldn't get so hung up on the name, huh? I guess Shielder's not really a rack. Yeah, 4 cards in their hand. So do I. Phyrexian Scriptures, very cool card. Destroy all non-artifact creatures. Kind of like this. Maybe it's not as good as Extinction Event, though. They're fetching in response. They have Veil of Summer? They already have their green mana in play, though. Maybe they just have something else to tap out for. Okay, so I can go Teferi minus with Veto up. Binding would be a really good draw. Is it ever better to plus here so I can have Charm plus Veto? I don't think so. I think if my opponent goes like Kasky Hero, I counter with Charm, so I'll play this untapped. What does Breeding Pool do for the deck? Instant speed, untapped, 4th land type. Yeah. And or also like 3rd color for Prismatic Ending. But sometimes you go Raugrin Triome, Breeding Pool, Counterspell, then 2 mana, Leyline Binding. You're probably honestly overthinking it a little bit. Okay, let's go Kihira, Kaskihira. I guess Kaskihira is pretty bad if they're on Solitude here. I should probably actually wait. Sorry, obviously, let me get to this deck tech in a little bit. Or soak it in some. Dread Fugue, target player. Use their hand, choose a null land card of mana value 2 or less. That player discards the card. Why did they let me... Why did they wait on the binding? Why did they wait on Leyline Binding here? They should have upkeeped it. So, you know, don't let me don't let me just draw a card. The counterspell's great, obviously. Teferi's great, obviously. Just everything. Everything coming up. Aspiring Spike, huh? I might let this go. I think I just want to protect the hero right now. Like if they win the counter fight here, then untap and draw like they're on Teferi or something, it's pretty bad. Oh wow. Yeah, it would have been much better to fight over Teferi, thinking they were on Solitude. But they didn't Solitude last turn, so I guess I'm a bit confused. Okay, this list is very interesting. I would be, I think, pretty interested in playing Field of Ruin over Mutavault, and then Fatal Push over Bloodchief's Thirst is one big change I think I would like here. I also think I want to play 3 Extinction Events in the main over the Path to Peril and the Phyrexian Scriptures. I don't know how good the Shrieking Afflictions are, so I don't think I'm really going to comment on them too much. Okay, let's let this resolve. I can ending this. Yeah, I don't think I'm really going to comment on the Afflictions. I just don't know how fast they kill your opponents, really, but they're maybe okay. I would probably play the 3rd Go Blank over the 1st Liliana Walker of the Dead. I think that card's pretty bad, and you already have 4/4 drops with Shieldred. I think Sideboard looks pretty solid. I don't think I'd build it too differently from this. I probably wouldn't play the Blast Zone either. But you could play the Blast Zone. It wouldn't be that bad. Okay, so let's go to Teferi first. They have only 2 cards in their hand. This is likely going to get countered. And I think to play around Dovin's Veto on my Prismatic Ending, I should probably counter back if this is not Dovin's Veto. So I can Prismatic Ending the Jace. Yeah, I think those are the changes I'd make. Maybe I would also play 1 copy of black, red, white, green. Maybe I would play 1 copy of Or the fourth extinction event in the board over like the third needle in the board. A very cool list. So they're at Xander's Lounge, Spar's headquarters. I don't think it really matters. I guess I'm trying to evaluate the differences between Zagoth, Raugrin. I don't think it matters. As long as you have a blue-white one and then one that complements the blue-white one. What's the reason for trying Shadow in the deck? You know, to not be super duper reductive, I guess, but I'm playing it because I think it's good. is honestly really what it boils down to here. I'm playing Shadow of Doubt because I think that it's a good and well-positioned card. Although I might just cycle it here. Obviously at this point in the game. Okay, good. The chances of drawing a Planeswalker are kind of good here. I think it matters both your Triomes can cast my companion. That's true. Doesn't feel like a super relevant thing. I'm actually happy the Stress Down resolves. Now Solitude doesn't get rid of my Kihira. Well positioned how? Okay, so not only are people playing like more fetchland decks right now than like they maybe ever have, but like they're because Leyline Binding specifically and Brennan 6, maybe people play like 10 plus fetchlands. So like there's just so many decks that are playing an incredible amount of fetchlands. And you're just like very likely to get your opponent on turn 2 with it. Whoa, they're offering the trade? This is unreal. I would have never offered this trade. I would have just tried to kill me. They bounce their dress down. Oh, they have Hall of the Storm Giants. Okay, I guess that checks out. Fuck. I guess that checks out. So I have to draw Solitude. I think if I minus the Teferi and don't concede, there's like a solid chance they don't go for the Hall activation. Obviously, I could have plus and tried to draw the Solitude. Yeah, they just snap it off. I guess maybe I waited too long. My bluff didn't make sense. Do I bring a Needle for Hall? I kind of like it. Couldn't cast Solitude to Teferi down. I could main phase the Solitude. I could main phase the Solitude, chat. Which is maybe the better line. I think if I snap off the -3, if I snap off the -3, then maybe there's a chance they don't activate, or a better chance that the bluff works. They still bending for my needles? Yeah, sure. Sure. Alright, fine hand. There's maybe an argument for being on the draw in this matchup. But I think Teferi and Archmage's turn both make you want to be on the play. But it is like certainly like really rough to mulligan. I feel like there's no way we win if we Solitude chump. Yeah, we just draw another Solitude, right? The next turn. We're definitely still in it. I think we have like 3 more Solitudes in the deck or something. Oh, I am behind on clock, huh? Maybe we have plenty of time for game 3. Was there any change to client? It seems so they deleted a lot of the memory leak files, so the client seems to be running a lot faster. That's the big change. Love to draw a land. Okay, pretty good chance I just run out Solitude end of turn. Yeah, so the cat, I don't know, it seems to be running a lot faster. Seems to be running a lot faster. Maybe I should prioritize getting Raugrin Triome for a turn. That would be like a lot easier play if I had a land. Oh, they don't have a land. So we really need to draw one. I guess I can still get Raugrin Triome since Raugrin Triome's not like a live draw to Jace with Veto up. Jace with Veto up, baby. Let's go. They get a force plus 1 mana counterspell, I guess, but whatever. Oh, they can have binding. Do I veto binding? Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, things could go a little wrong for me. It could also go right, you know? Sometimes things go right. How do I feel about the didgeridoo? I like didgeridoo. Pro didgeridoo. Okay. So we get to untap with Jace, which is always a delight. So I think I need to go cast my own Teferi to force the counter, then ending. What they bounce? Nothing, they just drew a card. Fetching very quickly. Okay. Narset's very good here. Fuck. Fuck. Yeah, GG, huh? GG. I do think that their version is pretty favored in the mirror, it seems. Kihira to hand. I kind of feel like cycling into something is probably a bit more relevant. Although I guess seeing that our top card isn't. Yeah, I guess I should have Kihira'd. I mean, really, we just like lose, right? Tough stuff. We fall to 3-1. Let's go ahead and get a 4-1 prediction going. I also don't think that losing to a man land is necessarily the best argument for playing one. Although I will say that, boy, do blue-white players hate, just absolutely despise being worse in the mirror. But I'm okay being a little worse in the mirror. As a reason, I'm on Jeskai and Sultai Triome while opponent is on Grixis and Bant. I mean, I think Jeskai Sultai is a little bit more relevant because both of my Triomes cast Kihira. I can't think of a reason why Grixis and Bant is better, but I can't imagine that it's I can't imagine that it's like relevant. Are we gonna add to the get you counter? Hey Spider, how's it going? I will say Shadow Doubt has looked like, I feel like looked very good all stream. Oh. AIM 11 months, thank you. The opponent was too stunned to speak. Yeah, no longer a fan. No longer a fan. Opponent trying to think of a witty one-liner to respond here. Is there a way to put this image directly into my body? My opponent has lost connection to the game! Lost connection to the game and I lost a fan. Okay, it says they've joined the game. Yeah, -1 fan. I think Shadow Doubt is the type of card that looks good whenever you put in the stack, but not noticed with dead on hand. I think that's true to some extent, but it also cycles, you know, it also cycles. You have a force to pitch it to, but that is, you know, true for sure. Although the same could be true for Dress Down, which is like kind of what we're playing it over anyways. Take Bant Company or Borisov's Field to RCQ. I would probably take Bant Company between the two, but I think either would be fine. Shocks and Esteem Bones. Wonder with the Twitch Prime. Thank you, thank you. And I wonder if you know what it means. People registered Think Twice for a while. Dude, the Think Twice was so bad. It was Garbo. Oh, I was maybe supposed to Kihira here. Okay, don't have another Shadow of Doubt. Xander's Lounge, creativity yet again. How do you feel about Impulse in Modern? I would say it's like an unplayable card probably. But I'm maybe having some issues with the new client. I feel like the clients felt a little faster today. Has anything changed with Band Company? I'm currently planning on playing Band Company tomorrow. So I could get another Fountain, but I think I just want Domain Online. I don't think I need to Verdict super soon. Yeah, I'm currently like soft planning on playing Band Company tomorrow, but obviously that could change. But I think at the very least I'll commit to like having a list ready to go tomorrow, so that people who want to tune in to see updated list can. Well, I guess I'm casting this to not go to discard. And notably, my Triomes, let me cast Kihira here. That's just good value. Fancy Fish, 3 months. Did you know you could subscribe for free using Twitch Prime? That sounds too good to be true, huh? Too good to be true. I was a blue-white player. Validant, GG. Do you think blue-white Narset is better than traditional blue-white? I only play blue-white, so I hear your input. I think it's very close. I think the Narset version is like very valid, very like totally reasonable way to build the archetype. It is always hard to say like definitively like which like variants or subvariant of these kind of decks are better than the other, you know. I prefer this version where it just feels like a little bit I just like hate to draw Days Undoing, you know what I mean? I really hate to draw Days Undoing without Narset. Obviously it's not the end of the world, but for me at least, I just really I really hate to draw Days Undoing, and so I'm just trying to like maximize the individual card quality, and so you're with the Narset version sacrificing some consistency for power level. Mass, the 9 months. XYZ, the 2 months. Termagir for the 31. Thank you, everybody. Welcome back. All right, let's get in with the Kihira. Kihira's going to go the distance. Dade with the 2 years. Saw an ad, must be sometime. Sounds about right. An Easy Clapper with the 6. Damn for free. Oh, maybe I should mention this Twitch Prime stuff more often, huh? I can't bring myself to do it. I just can't. They probably have spellers. Yeah, I know they probably have Spell Pierce, but I just have to jam. I have 3 Teferis, you know what I mean? I just have to jam here. Creativity token, so I'm going to lose my Kihira. I think I'm ditching the... I guess I ditch the Teferi, because I might want to... Well, I can pitch the Teferi to Solitude, actually. There's a pretty good chance they have a second Spell Pierce. Ooh, okay. So this can play around second Spell Pierce. Logic, 3 months, thank you. Alex with the 12 as well, and Iron with the 14. Wow. Oh, you know, yesterday I made a YouTube video. This is maybe a fine time to watch it. It's really short. Or I made a YouTube video, and in the video I like jokingly, you know, like subscribe or press the like button, and it has more likes than any other video I've ever made. just saying, jokingly press the like button. Although the video is also pretty good, I think. All right, so this is. We did it. Oh, sorry. This is my. Man, I have an ad on my own video. An ad on my own video. Okay. This was my... I decided... I was obviously pretty bored yesterday with Magic Online being down, so I made a video talking about the Yorion ban. I guess I could have taken the ads off, though.
What is up, Spikelings? Yorion is banned in Modern, and I, Aspiring Spike, have some big, crazy reactions to Yorion's ban in Modern and the impacts it will have on the format. And is it just me, or companions maybe a little bit of a mistake? Was the companion mechanic maybe a little bit overpowered? Let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure to like, subscribe, name your firstborn child after me, and as soon as you smash that like button, we're gonna get right into my live reaction for the Yorion video.
Oh, can I turn the video up? Oh.
Press that like button on 3. 1, a 2, a 3. Like it? My reaction to Yorion's ban? It's fine. I think it's not going to be a major impact overall. A big nerf to the Omnath decks. Gameplay is probably going to improve. Tournaments are going to go a bit faster. There's going to be less draws. Totally fine. And goodbye.
I thought it turned out pretty well. I was pretty happy with it. Yeah, what happens when I don't have Magic Online for a day? And if you also, yeah, Freya posted a link. If you also want to like the video, you can you can watch it here, and then I guess listen to the first part of the video that I had the bad audio for. Yeah, and we're still ahead on time. And we're still ahead on time. Obviously, to do review video. I want to watch it on stream today. I haven't seen it yet though, but I do want to watch it today. I saw the thumbnail had a cryptic command in it, so I'm hyped. Well, oh, the new video from the prof. So I thought NEI was like a mistyped Remy. NEI. I haven't seen a new professor video. No, I don't know when my professor video is coming out either. Yeah, but does anybody else think that maybe the companion mechanic was a little bit of a mistake? Oh, main deck brutality. So much better than Thoughtseize here. Infinitely better than Thoughtseize. Now if they have another creativity, although it would have to be like their third creativity. Guess Transmogrify is good at being third creativity. Okay, big top deck. Dead. Or go to 1. 1's on 0. Dude, I've never seen brutality be so much better than Thoughtseize. Well, I guess I have, but like as a discard spell. Is it just me? Am I the only one that thinks that maybe the companion mechanic was a little bit of a mistake? Is it just me? Am I the first person to ever say that? Alright, let's go to game 2. Okay, gonna bring in... trying to remember exactly how I sideboard last time. So I bring in the Vetos, and their version I think is just... I don't think they're playing Ren. I think they're just Grixis. I should have double checked their lands, but I think because of that I'm not going to bring in the Needle. I am going to bring in... If they're playing Brutality, there's no way they have Run, right? I'm going to bring in, I think, a second Rest in Peace instead of just the one I would usually bring in. Maybe I don't want to, actually. We don't have any Orvars. Yeah, you don't want to play Orvar if you're playing blue or white, and this deck is playing blue and white. So I think we cut all of the endings. I think you can still play 1 Chalice. And I think I want to cut the 4th Verdict, and like 3rd Solitude, play 1 Dress Down. Oh yeah, so the Moonlight. I think I went down to 1 Verdict last time. Yeah, I think I did the same thing where I was like 2 Verdicts, 3 Solitude, and then I'm like, no, you just want to play 4 Solitude. And I think that's still the direction I'm going down. I cut a Teferi on the draw. I think I went all 3 Teferis on the play. So maybe I cut the Chalice on the... Maybe on the draw, I bring in 1 Chalice for Teferi. On the play, I'm just on 3 Teferis. Let's try that. Why is Orvar bad in blue-white decks? It's not that Orvar is bad so much that it's better to just be playing like Dovin's Veto or Hallowed Moonlight or Counterspells, because those cards are like way more versatile than Orvar. But what's nice about Orvar is that it gives decks like Rakdos Scam and Green-Red Breach access to a good answer to creativity that it otherwise just wouldn't have access to. Because like those colors just don't have good answers to the plan. Is a line of Teferi bouncing Leyline too cute to want 4 Teferi? It doesn't seem like a good enough reason to want 4 Teferi. You'll still get to do it a lot of the time with 3, and it just is not a line that comes up so often that you would want a 4th. It comes up sometimes, right? But it just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen that often, I feel. And like you still have 3 Teferis to to let it happen when you need it to happen. Alright, mulligan the 6-lander. I don't like this hand very much. Gonna have to keep, I guess. Back a verdict. Shadow of Doubt does not stop creativity, no. I mean, they play a lot of fetch lands, though. They play like 11. I'm gonna... No, we'll just get the Raugrin Triome now. I think those are... I'm just gonna cycle Hallowed Moonlight end of turn if I don't need to like Dovin's Veto, Teferi, or Rin 6 if I'm just totally totally wrong. I am definitely due to lose against creativity. We had this big long conversation about it earlier. Sad, no Shadow of Doubt. Am I testing for Vegas off screen? I mean, I'm currently playing Modern right now, which is the format I'm playing in Vegas. I mean, I play a lot of Modern off stream too, but I also like, I don't know if this is like, I really am not viewing Vegas as a serious tournament at all. It really doesn't seem to me to be a super serious tournament. It seems to be like a pretty casual one. And I'm not like I mean I play a lot of Modern incidentally. I'm sure I'll have a deck that I like whenever the tournament happens, but is this are people taking this tournament super seriously? I don't know. I know I'm not. Flame Knight, thank you for tier 1, appreciate you. Yeah, my opponent they definitely have Spell Pierce. So maybe I'll draw a land that can pay for Pierce and have Counterspell. Oh yeah, sorry, I turned up the desktop audios to watch the video. This card's a Prismari Command. He's an Arid Mesa. No attacks. They're just so likely of having Spell Pierce here. I think I just need to pass. I'm not serious about what odds of playing Team of Breach in Vegas. I mean, I think Team of Breach is worse than Jeskai or Green Red, so low, I guess. But I'm not going to just play a deck I think is bad, but I'm not preparing for it like I would be RCQ or SEG or PT, you know. But I'm also spending most of my days playing Modern, so I'll play a deck that I like. Is Rip Fitting to persist? Yeah. Only brought one in. Ooh, gross. I think countering this to protect my hand. Oh, one last thing too is they might like Flusterstorm back here, and they don't get to like see anything. Throw in Flusterstorm instead of Spell Pierce. Have I tried Pioneer lately? Not really. Not really. Why do you bring a Rip? Because it persists. Oh, they are on Flusterstorm. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Give any more thoughts to Orzhov Asmo Shadow? No, I haven't, but maybe I'll give some more thought to it at some point. Jund Saga has a horrible mana base with Written 6. I really disagree. If you play Giganta, like you... I think the mana base is pretty bad if you play like Liliana, Season Pyromancer, but if you just play like cards that cost 1 of each color, 24 lands, it's totally fine. I would even say it has a better mana base than red-black or green-black for sure. Like those decks like play double color cards, or like about as good. I don't know. Smooch 19 months, thank you. But of course, you know, Jund players always just come in wanting to argue all the time. They really ever like tank on a Spell Pierce here? This was a tanked Spell Pierce. Wow, weird. Why tap out for Teferi? My opponent knows my hands. What do you mean, why tap out for Teferi? What do you want to do instead here? Like, literally, what do you want to do instead? I don't have double white. I can't hardcast Solitude. Smooch, 19 months. Thank you. So we discard the Binding. Can go to Teferi minus on Archon. Oh yeah, they're bad connection, right? Of course. No, no. They have another freaking Spell Pierce. Maybe it's Flusterstorm. All right. Maybe the creativity matchup isn't as good as I've been feeling. I don't know. Our draws are also kind of clunky this game. Shadow out good in Dimir Shadow. Yeah, maybe. I think that's another place that I think it'd probably be pretty good. Unmoored Ego. What do you think about Takenuma and Goblins? I've been playing it over Sogazon and felt it's more impactful. The fact that Sogazon taps for red is way better than Takenuma. You just don't want very many lands that tap for black. Like one swamp is okay because of Blood Moon, but you know, you're a conspicuous Snoop deck. What did they name? They named Solitude. I mean, Solitude was... I was dead if I drew Solitude here. So I draw like Teferi, because I can't cast... I guess... Sorry, I have Kahira. Never mind. Alright. So 3-0, 6-0, into 3-2. Barf. I'm going to play at least one more, though. Sorry, believers. Sogazon feels lousy. I prefer Takenuma by far. I just don't... Sogazon taps for red. It taps...